This is the most terrifying thing about the Colorado Avalanche, as the team entered the 2025 season with a pretty notable question mark on a certain aspect of their game that was going to play a huge role in them getting off to a strong start this season. But this specific aspect of the Colorado Avalanche has been by far one of the strongest points of their game through 6 games played. And the fact that it is in the position it is right now is going to help the Avs continue to dominate the league looking into the near future, even when some things in this respective area of the team change in the very near future. What's up, everyone? Mark Robinson here with Avalanche Digest. Welcome into the channel. Excited to break down some certain aspects of the Avs that are very worth continuing to discuss as we look ahead to some of the games that they've got in the future. And as we also talk about some injury updates and some guys potentially coming back sooner than later for the Avs that's going to really help them this season. Before we dive into today's video, I want to remind you guys to make sure you're subscribed to Avalanche Digest here on YouTube. 74% of our viewers every single day not subscribed to the channel. You guys know the drill. If you're an Avs fan, if you're a hockey fan, if you love the Avalanche, give us a subscription. Leave a like, leave a comment. Let us know what you think of our content as well. And if you aren't subscribed, this is the best place to be for daily Colorado Avalanche news and updates and coverage of the team. In addition to that, I want to remind you guys that we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any other place that you can stream a podcast. You can listen to Avalanche Digest on all of those platforms. So in addition to being subscribed to our YouTube and watching all of our videos here at our home base, which is YouTube, go check out those platforms as well. And while you're over there, leave a like, leave a subscription, leave a 5-star rating, whatever you want to do. We appreciate your support more than you know, as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching our videos, leaving comments every day. We love interacting with you guys in the comments. And this is all just one big Colorado Avalanche family is what it feels like. And I think that if you guys subscribe, you're going to feel good about joining this amazing family. All right, we're talking goaltending today, and we're talking Scott Wedgewood. So at the start of the season, it was kind of a known reality that Mackenzie Blackwood was probably not going to be ready for at least the first few games. We're now to 6 games played. We've got a few coming up this week, and he's still not quite ready, which we'll dive into that conversation a little bit later. But the biggest question and the biggest talking point was the fact that Scott Wedgewood was going to have to step into this starter role, which is not what he has been utilized as in the past for the Avs. He was obviously acquired in a very early season trade last season with the Nashville Predators. We sent the young Justus Annunen over to Nashville and got the veteran Scott Wedgewood in return. And he was brought into the organization to be kind of a glue backup type of goalie that could be utilized when we needed him. And he had a great end of his year last year, but he wasn't being utilized a ton because shortly after the Scott Wedgewood trade, we acquired Mackenzie Blackwood, and Mackenzie Blackwood has obviously been unreal as a starting goalie for the Colorado Avalanche. But Scott Wedgewood at the start of the season has had to step into this role of a starter, and there was a question mark around whether or not he was going to be able to do so. But I think that this announcement that came out earlier today that's on your screen right here is a testament to whether or not he was able to step into that role. And I think 100% he stepped into the role, I think, better than people expected. So the NHL's 3 stars of the week were released earlier today, and alongside Dylan Larkin and Jack Eichel, those are 2 pretty notable names in the league. If you ask me, you've got Scott Wedgewood, 3rd star of the week in the National Hockey League. And boy, does he deserve it. He has had an electric start to the season for the Colorado Avalanche. Taking a look at some of his stats, he's 3rd in the league in goals against average right now, atop Igor Shesterkin and Jacob Dobbs. He is lighting it up between the pipes for the Colorado Avalanche. And just considering the fact that in his 5 wins, he's only allowed 1 goal in each of those wins, which is unreal for Scott Wedgewood to just be continuing to put this insane performance on the table for every single team that he is playing against. And then in addition to that, the only loss that he has was an overtime loss. Obviously, it doesn't count towards a win, but like if you look at the Avs and their record, they have a strong 5-0-1 record right now, and their only non-regulation loss was in a shootout. And it's all thanks to this guy stepping into a notable role as a starter. And it's been super awesome seeing him take on this role as the Avs' like #1 guy for goalie right now. They can rely on him. They can fall back on him on nights where the offense isn't really producing. That happened in the first game against the Utah Mammoth. And Scott Wedgewood has been unreal for the Colorado Avalanche without a doubt. Speaking of the Utah Mammoth, Scott Wedgewood has a 1.00 goals against average against the Mammoth. He's got a .970 save percentage against them, and he's already tallied a win. That is the next game on the schedule for the Avs, which we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the video, but also just a strong, nice reality to be able to fall back on as well, thinking about this next game that we have against a team that we've already faced within our division, in that Scott Wedgewood knows he can handle and help the team get to a strong point in the game and help them win against a team like the Utah Mammoth. Want to touch on something that Jared Bednar said about Scott Wedgewood after the Boston Bruins game. If he keeps playing like that, he's going to see more games. And you think about this quote and you think about relating it to the fact that Mackenzie Blackwood is getting closer to being ready to play again. He's almost healthy enough to come back in and play. Once we see Mackenzie come back and start for the Avs, whether he has a strong start, whether it takes him a few games to get back to a sort of dialed in sense, either way, we now have seen firsthand what Scott Wedgewood is capable of and how good of a goaltender he is. And it sets a precedent for the remainder of the season, in that Jared Bednar now has a comfortable ability to trade these goalies off in the time that they're playing a little bit more. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing Scott Wedgewood play a few more games throughout the season than he did last year. And if we're seeing a little bit more of a, once Mackenzie Blackwood is fully healthy again and back to being a dialed-in starting goaltender, he's obviously taking a little bit more of the majority of the games, but I could see a little bit closer to an even split between these two goaltenders just because of how good Scott Wedgewood has started off the year. I mean, he's third in the league in goals against average as a so-called backup goalie. He's had to step into this role and essentially be the starter for the Avs, and he's done a remarkable job at it. Another thing that he said after the game that I think is worth noting as well was he talked about how he knows that he's a starting goalie. He knows that he's a very capable player in between the pipes, and he said that he's known it from the get-go, that he is capable of playing that role as a starter, and I think that the players and the coaching staff are recognizing that he can be utilized in that role, which is awesome for Scott Wedgewood and what the Avs are hoping to utilize in Scott Wedgewood looking forward to the remainder of the season. So speaking of goaltending, I want to talk a little bit about Mackenzie Blackwood. There's some updates circling around his status from Morning Skate this morning from some of the awesome Avalanche beat reporters that we are checking in with on a daily basis. An interesting development, Trent Miner, who is currently on the Avs roster backing up Scott Wedgewood. Since Mackenzie Blackwood was out, everything kind of got shifted up. Wedgewood, the starter. Trent Miner was pulled up from the Eagles. He's been the backup. Miner just exited Avalanche practice and went to the locker room. And Blackwood was in practice, working and getting reps in during morning skate at practice. This could be a good sign that Blackwood is getting closer to game action. And then another beat reporter, Ryan O'Hara, asked Mackenzie Blackwood off camera, how close is he to returning? When are we going to see him back? How close is he to being ready to play in a game again? And he smiled and he said, close. Just a little side note, I love when players are elusive like this. I think it adds so much excitement to the league, and I think it just keeps everybody kind of on the edge of their seat. Like, I don't think it would be as fun if he said to this reporter, oh, I'm probably going to be playing next Tuesday. Like, I love how he kind of adds a smirk to his face and he's like, I'm close. Like, I think that's great. But clearly he's getting back to his status of feeling like he's game ready, feeling like he gets to play his first game of the season. He has not played or dressed for a single game yet for the Avs since he's recovering from this surgery that he had at the end of the last season, recovering from this injury. But the fact that he's saying to reporters that he's getting close, it means that we're going to be seeing him very soon. But with that in mind, it was announced a little bit later after practice that Blackwood will not be traveling to Utah for this game with the team. The Avs play the Mammoth tomorrow. And it's going to be Scott Wedgewood again, who's going to play in his 7th straight game for the Avs against the Utah Mammoth. And we talked a little bit about it earlier in the video. He only allowed 1 goal, had a .970 save percentage, and did very well against the Utah Mammoth in the win that we had at home against Ball Arena. It was a game where the Avs offense actually wasn't really picking up much slack. It was only a 2-1 win for the Avs. But Scott Wedgewood played very well. He knows how they play. He's already seen a bunch of shots from them, and he can hopefully take that performance and propel it into the game that they have coming up very soon here. And it's going to be an interesting game, I think. I mean, after the Mammoth dropped that game to the Avs, they've been rolling, to say the least. They beat the Nashville Predators in overtime. They did lose to the Chicago Blackhawks. That's obviously a tough loss, not a team you want to be losing to. And then they hopped on a 3-game winning streak. They beat the Flames, the Sharks, and the Bruins in 3 straight games. And, I mean, the Avs just beat the Boston Bruins as well. It's definitely notable that both of these teams are on a 3-game winning streak and they're beating similar teams. And so I think Utah's settled into their season, to say the least. And I think this is going to be a more difficult game for the Avs looking ahead as far as what they're going to be able to accomplish tomorrow. But at the same time, I don't even think the Avs had fully settled into how their team was functioning and how their team was gelling on that game against the Mammoth. I think since that game, you can obviously see it on the Avs' last 5 on that left side there. After the 2-1 win, they had a very good offensive game against the Dallas Stars that they obviously weren't able to pull out. It was a tough game, and it just ended up being one of those ones where we couldn't find the go-ahead goal. Jake Ottinger was playing unreal. But then after that, it's been, the Avs dominating these teams that they're playing. And so I think that this game is going to be interesting now that both teams have really found their footing and kind of found their identity through however many games that they've played. I know the Avs have played 6. I don't know if the Mammoth have gotten there yet, but nonetheless, it's going to be a good game tomorrow in Salt Lake City between the Mammoth and the Avalanche. And I mean, through 6 games played, it's continued. It's a continued dominance for the Avalanche in the league. I know you can make the argument that it is a very, very young season, and there isn't a lot that can be said about leading the league. But I think that the fact that the Avs are plus 11, they have 11 points, and they haven't lost in regulation yet, and they lead the league right now with a 5-0-1 record, I think that's very notable. I mean, even MacKinnon said in a quote as well after the Boston Bruins game, our lineup is really good. Everyone is feeling good physically and mentally. The players that we have are elite. Our best player on the team recognizes the skill that this team has right now and what they're able to accomplish on the ice from an offensive standpoint, from a defensive standpoint, and from a goaltending standpoint. And in this same quote, too, MacKinnon had also mentioned the fact that last year they were in a hole. They lost 4 or 5 straight games to start off the season. They were 0-4, and then things kind of started to click, and it took a while to get back on track. It's the complete opposite this year. They're buzzing, they're rolling, they're feeling their game, and it's really showing on the schedule and in the league standings. They're leading their division, their conference, and the entire league. The Avs are the face of the NHL right now, and I'm loving every second of it. Alrighty, guys, thanks so much for tuning in to Avalanche Digest as usual. Let us know how you're feeling about Scott Wedgewood. Let us know how you're feeling about the Avs. Say hello in the comments. Like I said in the beginning of the video, this is just one big Colorado Avalanche family, and we want each and every one of you to feel like you can interact with us because we like to go and respond to each of the comments and interact with you guys. So please leave a like, leave a comment. Let us know how excited you are about the Nordiques jerseys coming soon. Avs social media has been doing a ton of little teasing and joking around with when they're going to come out, and I think it's very soon, and I think that's going to be an awesome thing for not only the players and the staff with the team, but for the fans. It's very exciting. So, as always, make sure you're subscribed, leave a like, leave a comment. Like I said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, my name is Mark Robinson. This is Avalanche Digest, and we will see you guys soon with more Colorado Avalanche updates.